Besides the community service hour stuff, right? I've got something that I want to bring to you. Okay. Now look, you're supposed to be my seventh cousin, right? Uh, I've got like my mom's birth certificate, West Virginia. You know, her mom was Rita McGraw, right? Hey, we could be kinfolk. We very well could, and I'm pretty sure that I can outsing you. Right? I don't know, maybe not. Anyway, my point is this: uh, you guys, when you come in, you guys have security working for you. You know? Okay. Well, here's the thing. I grew up a mile and a half away from that place down the gorge, right? And shit, I was down there burglarizing that place for cases of wine on my three wheeler when I was 12 years old. See, I knew what I was gonna be when I was 13. I'm gonna be an outlaw. I'm gonna be a convict. I'm gonna have a shaved head, tattoos, walk the big yard, talking shit with the fellas, all that. Okay. I knew what I was gonna be. Okay. Well, here's the deal. I did that. Okay. I made it to the top of the ladder. Woo! Yahoo! Right? Okay. Well, so what? Really? Okay. Not quite as prestigious as it might sound, right? Okay. Well, here's the deal. They hire security from Spokane, right? Hey, well, let me tell you something. Hey, I've only been to one concert down at that gorge, right? It's almost impossible for me to get tickets unless I got a credit card. I don't care if I grew up like I said, I was a mile and a half away from there, and you guys were having raging concerts. I never been to one. Never been to one. I finally went to the Judds. Right? Whatever, you know. Anyway, monopolizing is monopolizing, and that's kind of what's going on. That's the kind of way I'm feeling. I'm being dealt that kind of a hand. Okay, but I'm a reformed bad guy. Uh, I did 16 years in prison total. Went there 4 times. Did 49 months in the hole for riding. Right? A good time. You know about good time? I had a good time losing mine. Every bit of it. Okay, so uh, here's what I want, and here's what I've thrown at other groups in our county, Grant County. That's where the gorge is. Okay, I've spoken to every different flag, right? The shot callers for each one. Okay, uh, and they're willing to do this, and this is a humanitarian move. Okay, for y'all, period, and for me, whatever, help me sleep at night. Okay, hey, I've got them all to hang up their flags at the gate to go do if they were one security, right? A security gig, a job, okay, if you will. Okay, hey, go down there and do security, you know, and keep the peace while they're down there. Anyway, who cares what they do outside the gate? It's not your problem. It might even bring some sort of unity, to the whole spiel of things. But here, like, it ain't never been done. Hey, you know that fart that I lit, that I sucked out of my old lady's ass? Hey, you know what? Hey, that ain't never been done either. I've done it. I've been doing crazy things since I've been free. Okay? Hey, first ever things. Okay? And it's insane. And man, I know it sounds nuts, but here's the deal. I believe that my pit bull, my female pit bull, Precious, right? I didn't name her. I didn't name Precious one. But I believe that this dog, the one I have right now, was reincarnated for me. Okay, now Scotty knows. Whatever. Okay, fact of the matter is look, something crazy is going on here. Dude, I'm not playing with it. Something crazy is going on. Okay? And it all, I believe, all has to do with, right, a growing pot, believe it or not. Okay, now I know there's some cliches out there. Um, God created pot, man created alcohol, created trust. Right? Well, that starts ringing a little bell to me, right? Because look, as I'm on my way back to the joint for the last time, I'm on a Z9 900 engine, right? Mobbing. Went to war with Pierce County, right? Every night for about 3 weeks, I'd pull up, kick me in the head, bam! Ah, I'm going, do a circle around the car, whatever. You ain't catching me, dude. I outran a fucking helicopter coming from Tacoma to Yelm on my bike. I was flying, okay? So anyway, I tell this kid who I've got, he's a 15-year-old kid. I got all my stuff, and my dog, my pit bull, precious one, at his mom's house. And I had him go cop me some weed, okay, down on, 96 and Hosmore or whatever it was. Anyway, in Tacoma. And I hit the brakes, and I got like 4 or 5 cops behind me. I'm probably going like 120, 130 down. And I hit the brakes, and I'm like, oh, lean all the way back. Like this. And I tell that kid, I say, hey, look, I say, make sure you take care of my dog. He gets off, I go 6 blocks, bam, get T-boned, get T-boned by the cops, okay? And something happened, man. Boom, went up in the air, crash, come down on my head, get up, flip my lid off, I go running, and boom, my legs just gave out on me. Okay, I broke my back. All of a sudden, boom, here comes a big old black canine, cop dog. Ooh, look at this. I don't know if you can see this. See my gun right here? Let's see, right here, right. I don't know if you can see that good angle on it. It's just deformed. Anyway, you see it right there? Ooh, see that weird trip, right? Yeah. Anyway, that was a canine. It looked like a fucking grizzly bear, right? And I grabbed that fucking snout. I grabbed him by the hose. Jump here. Get up. Up your neck. Up, boy. Up. My baby boy. This is Shadow Battle baby boy. He's a miracle dog as well. Anyway, I grabbed this big old shepherd by his whole snout like this. I grabbed him just like that. Shadow. Get up here. Up. Here's your daddy. Up here. Shadow. Shadow. Here. Shadow. Up here. He's not cooperating. Anyway, I grabbed that dog by his snout. Big old handful. And I twist that fucking nose almost off his face. Right? And he let me go. And I get up and I make it about 1 step and boom! Here come like 8 cops just dog pound me. And they hold me down. Give the dog my arm back. Right? Feels like my arm's in a washing machine or something, you know? And I got these cops rolling down, telling me, stop resisting us, sir. Stop resisting us, Mr. Watson. Stop resisting us. Quit fighting us. I said, man, hey, look. He's this far away. I said, man, look. The only thing moving on me is my arm that your dog has. Right? Quit fucking around. And then I had my arm for like 2 minutes or so, about ish. Right? Okay. So they wanted to get me real bad. They were chasing me with their spotlights on. No red and blues, no headlights. Well, that was odd, I thought. The whole time I thought. That was kind of odd. Oh, but it turns out that's what activates the dash cam. Right. Well, like 3 weeks prior to this, this black dude named Tadao. Yeah, he was on a stolen crotch rocket. And they got him on the freeway and they killed his ass. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, yeah, that's what the whole chasing me with the spotlight only was about. Okay, well, I'm going 160 miles an hour in town. Tacoma. Right? Not giving a shit, right? Putting a lot of people's lives in danger, right? And a risk and in jeopardy, okay? So, I don't blame them. I don't blame them. I was, you know, I was doing wrong. I was doing bad. You know, I was potentially hurting a lot of people. So anyway, so when I go back to prison this time, remember, last thing I tell this kid on the back of my bike was, make sure you take care of my dog. Precious. A perfect marking American Brindle. 4 white socks, white tip tail, raccoon eyes, a V on the neckline. Perfect marking American anything. American Brindle Pit Bull, American marking, American Brindle Boxer, American Brindle Great Dane, all right, whatever. Right? If it's an American Brindle, these are the criteria for what sets that to being a perfect American Brindle, anything, which she had. Okay. So anyway, kind of a weird situation as far as how I got the dog too, right? And that's a weird. That's another weird story, you know. Anyhow, and you know, I might be a weird dude. I don't know. You tell me. Okay. So I tell this kid that I go 6 blocks, bam, get my back broke. Hey, go back to the joint for the, you know what, 3 years, you know, for eluding, which was my third elude. Okay. Which I don't have my license now and have not had it since, you know. Um, uh, which last 2 times, if I remember correctly, last 2 times that I tested, the very last time was in Marysville, Washington, and you know, you're under really tight scrutiny there. You know, they're reputed to be the toughest, whatever. You know, okay. So I go in their jacked up Jeep. I go in their jacked up Jeep. Hey, and I go pulling in, and I'm right. Hey, I'm pulling back and go, perfect score, Mr. Watson. I said, I thought so. Talking is awful. I'm pretty proud of that. Anyway, check that. I get out of prison, right? But I knew as soon as I landed on my head, man, I knew something had changed. Something crazy had changed. I couldn't call it, but you know, I am starting to, and it's starting to make itself apparent. I know it sounds okay, Scott, isn't it? Again, okay, whatever. Okay, hey, it's the most supernatural thing I've ever witnessed. Okay, it's just not like I have this uneducated guess on what religion is or about or whatever, right? I grew up with a Southern Baptist minister for a father, okay, and my mother worked 10 years for CPS, okay. So I was under major scrutiny when I was a kid, right? And what was I? What was I? Hey, total defiance the whole time, the whole time. Okay? So a little bit of a, you know, it's just a whole bunch of different things, and so I joined this group. Okay, um, like I say, as the man, right, on my central file, right, federal file, whatever, state file, whatever. Anyway, it says they have me down as one of the recognized leaders of a security threat group known as the American Family. Oh my God. Okay, but here's the deal, right? We're not Aryan Brotherhood, okay? We're not skinheads, okay? We are family, okay? The founder of my group is half Native, okay? I am a Cherokee, okay? We are of mixed, you know, cultures, bottom line. So in the joint, we make the perfect mediator, okay? For other groups, right? There's a dispute with some Mexicans and some blacks. Okay, hey, who's gonna mediate this? Who's gonna make a call on this? Okay, well, let's go ask one of these ABs. Let's go ask Arian. No, they don't do that. Okay, they come to us. Okay, internal investigators. They don't like us because they think we're doing their job. Okay, but look, let me tell you something. As far as being inside an institution, and there always has been and there always will be a pecking order. There will always be a racial separation, and there will always be what was it? Oh God, what was it? Maybe I need to take a break. I do. Oh no, here's what I gotta do. I'll pick this back up. Right. No, let me finish this precious story. Okay. So I get through doing my 3 years for this lube, right? 4-time Baptist joint, right? Hey, I'm riding then, even with a broken back, right? Hey, go to the hole for calling shots, right? Hey, when you come back in, or when I came back in, hey, they finally let me program, right? Let me go to school, let me go to welding, of course, a college education, right? For welding, okay? A straight A student, okay? I'm busting out 10 hours a day at school, doing 120 rods or whatever a day, busting them out, okay? Hey, my instructor tells me, after seeing me, behind his hood, get down with a stick weld, he says, that's the steadiest hand I've ever seen. Well, let that be known. Let it be known. I was like, I could have died that happy that day for sure, right? So some of the my most fond memories and the best I ever felt about myself have been when I was going to school in prison, right? During that time, okay, I made it about 6 or 7 months, and then inevitably they caught me calling shots in the joint, right? Because when I went back to the joint, my whole patch was in the hole, okay? Because they changed the metrics, right? They changed how much stuff you can have. They just changed a whole bunch of things, all the metrics on, clothing metrics notes. Anyway, they changed it up. They switched it up, and because of such a huge switch up, they want all the recognized shot collars in the hole for that. Okay. Well, when I went back, I told them I retired. Well, I'm not gonna let see. Oh, sure. I've got 16 felonies in my adult record, right? I've never raped anybody, never murdered anybody, never told on anybody. Okay. And so I try to do my life as righteously as I possibly can. Okay, according to the convict law, convict code. So anyway, back to presence. So I get out, and I made this deal on a conference call, which is mandatory before you get out of prison in Washington State. And in the conference call, they have the local cops, the sheriff's department, your sponsors, the probation department, the prison officials, okay, and yourself. Okay. Well, I spent the last 8 months of my incarceration in the hole. They released me from the hole. Okay. So I went to this meeting in handcuffs and an orange monkey suit, and I told them, I said, look, you broke my back on the way back through this time, and I can legally grow pot. I can legally, medicinally grow weed. Yeehaw! Woo woo! Okay. So I told them this. I said, I will not do any felonies as long as you don't mess with my pot room. Ah, right on. Okay, no problem. Okay. Well, I got a year of probation to walk off when I get out. Okay, so I get out. I do the whole year. Not one violation. Okay. And let me tell you something. I've been on probation since I was 12 years old. Okay. I'm 43. Almost 44. Okay. So I get off probation, right, with no violation. Okay. And I got to get my MRIs and to get my pot license. And so I'm sitting there in my girlfriend's truck, my feet kicked back, up in the crotch of the door, doors open, in the parking lot, smoking a cigarette, right? And well, up walks this little dog, okay? And I didn't recognize her for what she was, okay? But she turned out being the perfect marking American Brindle puppy, 8 weeks old, 9 weeks old, 10 weeks old, whatever. I didn't, because hey, I didn't recognize her as being such because I tell you, pit bulls, you don't know if they're a full pit bull till they're like 6 or 7 months old. Okay, then if they're cut with something, that's when it starts showing up. You know. Okay, so I didn't recognize her for what she was. Okay, because when I got out of prison, this kid and his mom didn't have my dog, right? And whatever on that. Okay, so I took this dog home, this pup. This pup just walked up and said, "Boom, you're my new dad." Okay. Well, uh, and look, I gave it an honest effort to find out whose this dog's parents were. Okay, and I mean, I walked, probably an hour. I tried to find out who it was walking up and down. Anybody with a, walking a dog or had a yard that looked like it had a dog, whatever. I'd knock on the door and say, hey, do you recognize this dog, whatever, right? Hey, nobody. Okay. So I take it home, and it almost ended up being a little bit of a war because it ended up being this gal's dog who, right, was affiliated with some gangs or whatever. Okay, and but once I realized what this dog was, about a month, right, and this dog is the same dog. I mean, spitting image as far as looks, because I have a perfect marking American Brindle pit bull. It is the spitting image of the exact same personality as the first Precious, which is a trip how I got this dog and what happened with this dog. And I mean, this dog, I was in the middle of Tacoma, on my bike. I ride my mountain bike, BMX bike, whatever. I wouldn't even have to have a leash on this dog. Downtown. Crazy. This dog was like, right? Like, bam, where we going? Anyway, it's too bizarre. Okay? And so, and the personalities are so entirely much alike. It's just insane. It's insane. Anyway, so that's my little bit of a pit bull story, and I got more to tell you about it. To get you to thinking how I'm thinking on it. And let me tell you this: I think it all revolves around, for some reason, pot, marijuana, right? And look, there's something freaky because the strain that I grow, right? This came from these 3 hippies, okay, in this town, okay, when I moved here. Okay, when I first moved here, I had the respects of all the bad guys and stuff, and I still got a lot of respects of all the bad guys and stuff. Out of fear that they're going to go back to prison, right? And have something crazy to say about Scotty Watson, okay? A and being in here, or being in there and being out here, are 2 different things, okay? Especially in this area, in particular, for me or any other family member, I might add, because oh God, such a long story, such a long, crazy story, and I will most definitely break it all down to you, right, in this most explicit detail. Because I don't miss nothing. I don't miss shit. I used to be a fighter. I don't fight anymore, not much, because I broke my back, and I got a broken back right here, in the middle of my patch. No, yeah, right there, right, yeah. Okay, so anyway, I don't fight much anymore. Actually, I can't take it. I'm sure, but I used to be a fighter, and I figured it out to about 200 fights I've been in. I've had, and Not because I like bully people, right? I'm 5'8", 160 pounds. I'm not a big dude. I'm not a monster, that's for sure, right? But I'm fast. I'm a knockout artist, right? I just tell people, hey, look, I'll race you your head. Ready? Oh, what? Oh, no. Oh, you didn't get caught in one of these, did you? Oh, no. Okay, so anyway, I should be a knockout artist. And, so anyway, there's so much to tell. It takes, I figured out, it takes like, oh, so anyway, back to this. I've been in about 200 fights, and I think I've lost 2, right? I got jumped by five dudes in Wenatchee one time, right? Hey, I whooped every one of them. I had every one of them running down the road, right? Talking about, oh, you're an asshole. Okay, well, look, and take it. I didn't always have the most patience for people, say in jail, right? Especially in the drunk tank. You know, they finally figured out that, hey, don't put them in any intake tank, because right, first motherfucker to pop off the fart. Believe it or not, while I'm eating my breakfast, I'm going to chin, right? And if I go to somebody's chin, bam! Oh, don't let me see long neck. 'Cause I'm like this. Boop, 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 boop. Okay? So, anyway. So, anyway, I used to be a fighter. And it was good. I don't have any unrighteous beefs. I've never raped anybody. I've never killed anybody. And I've never told on anybody. Okay? Which brings me to my batch area family. Okay? Now, the founder of my group, like I say, is half native. I'm an 8th Cherokee myself. Okay? I'm a Cherokee outlaw. Hoorah! I went to prison for the first time for shooting some folks in Wenatchee. Okay? For stealing from me. It was a quasi justified shooting as far as you know, as far as being civil, and you know, as far as everybody out here in society is concerned, right? Hey, and proving that is the fact that while I was in jail for this, the same people I shot got busted up in Kashmir stealing from their ghost town museum. You know what I'm saying? And highly offensive to those folks, right? So they're like, ooh, these are real shitbags. And this guy shot him, well, he's okay, right? So I did 5 years. Snap. Okay. First time in the joint, shooting people. They brought it back from double attempted murder to double secondary assault. Snap. So anyway, like I say, it's a big, long story, and it takes like 8 hours to run down to somebody, okay? But like I said, I don't miss anything, right? And I can break it down in its most detailed form, you know, possible. And it's a freaky thing, man. It is really freaky, okay? It's just like how the strain came in my hands, how it came to be in my hands. No strain came in my hand. I'd sock it right now. Anyway, these 3 hippies gave me this strain of pot, right? Because when they got out, or when I got out of prison, and there's another weird thing. My probation officer, okay, who was a Mormon, okay, got permission from the bishop of the Mormon church for me to grow pot for him. Huh? Do I need to say that again? My probation officer got permission from the bishop of the Mormon church to grow pot for him? Is that crazy? Has that ever been done? I have the first, and in fact, I'll bring it in here and say, I gotta ask my lady where it's at. But I've got the first and only in the whole wide world, again, the medicinal indoor-outdoor grow Bible, right? And a DOC, Department of Correction, folder, written on DOC paper from a DOC computer. Okay? First time for a whole bunch of shit right here, right? Right? Okay. And so, I started fucking with my eyes open when I was about, 15, 16, something like that, right? Okay. So I'm paying attention to everything. Really, not much gets by. Okay. Mm. Right now, my fence is down. I'd be a little bit more explicit, except for the fact that my fence is down. Okay. Now, when you quit doing felonies, and I'm jumping around like a rabbit on crack as far as my story goes, right? Hey, that's because there's so much to tell. It's so immense and so bizarre, right? That it's, and look, the sheriff's department, they'll co-sign pretty much whatever I'm telling you right now. You know what I'm saying? Because here's the deal. I quit lying. Period. I don't lie to anybody for anything, and I sure as fuck ain't gonna lie for somebody else. If I ain't gonna lie for myself, why would I lie for somebody else? Okay, that's what people don't understand. Okay, I don't steal. Okay, I don't condone it. I don't do it. Hey, I don't let stolen shit around me. I don't buy it. Right? Try ripping off one of my neighbors. I get you crawling out of one of my neighbors' windows. Hey, look, I'm gonna cut you in half. Two separate peoples. I mean, you're gonna be two separate pieces. You're gonna be two people. Period. Right? I don't think they issue out fucking double Social Security cards, so you're gonna be stuck. They're gonna spend a lot of time and money stitching you back together. I can't really remember what I told you about my pit bulls and me being ambushed by these two guys with butcher knives and a broad with some kind of looked like a spade shovel or something. I don't know. Okay, but look, they ambushed me and my two pit bulls. Okay, having out in the middle of the street, right in front of my house. Okay, uh, my bitch held on to this guy, from my mailbox, a couple minutes in the middle of the street, all the way up to the neighbor's front door across the street, which are shitbags and I don't get along with. I don't like them. Okay, whatever. Okay, but here's the deal. That bitch right there, the one that got reincarnated for me, she got hacked in an X on her head. Okay, spent, God, what was it? $1,000 worth of stitches. Spent 5 hours in surgery stitching her back up, stapling her back together. Multiple times along the back. Same with her son, Shadow Battle Baby Boy, right here, and he was born right here in this Jack Shack. And on his 4th day and 5th day on this earth, okay, he went from this Jack Shack all the way through my yard, and you'll see my yard, right? It's crazy. All the way up the steps and all the way to the front door of my house, whining. Okay, 6 o'clock in the morning. That happened on the 4th day. On the 5th day, I was like, wow. Okay, well, his mom must have brought him up here, but just in case, I'm going to go ahead and feed him late out here in the Jack Shack, where all pets were, and then I'm going to have her come in, just to prove it to myself that, that she brought him up there to the porch. And so I fed him late, brought her in, 6 o'clock the next morning, bam, there he was again, right? On his 5th day on this earth, 4th and 5th day. Okay, so let me explain something. They don't even have their eyes open at that age, okay? And it rained the first 10 days of his life. You know what I'm saying? That's weird. That is weird. So check it out. I never took him back to the pack. I kept him up under the wing, right? And I never took him back to the pack. And he's been with me ever since. And I'll tell you what, probably 2 weeks into his life, he was in the laundry room and sleeping under some blankets or whatever, and I was walking through and I stepped right on his head. His head went from round to burnt. It was like oblong or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, it distorted his skull immensely. And oh boy, I got this dog and I'm driving around in the winter or whatever. I'm driving around, and it's just shitty weather. I'm crying, trying to figure out who I'm gonna handle. I took him out to the crazy Indian lady out here, Charmaine Sharp. Yes, a couple hard feelings. with that gal. But anyway, and you know, she did some kind of voodoo shit to him, you know, which I appreciated, you know. Didn't appreciate my truck not being in my possession anymore. But anyway, nonetheless. Okay, with that, I need to tell you this. That I've been getting by, okay, in whatever way that I can, okay. And I do odd jobs, whatever. I dumpster dive. I my own garbage, right? So that you know, I mean, and I own my own property, almost. I make house payments now. I don't rent. I never have rented. My whole life, I've never rented. I've never made a house payment, had any sort of rental, nothing, ever. Okay? Because I was an outlaw, dude. I was like, you know, hey, you know, I got a gun, and I got a bunch of dope, right? Right? Who don't want me to live with them? Okay? So, and I'll kick in a deer. I kick in a door just to supplement my income in a heartbeat right now. That's what I used to be. Okay? And now I abstain. I found a whole new way to go about life and how to deal with things, situations, and the situation that I'm in is crazy. Okay, one of my best friends, she's a 80-year-old lady named Rose Faber. Anyway, she's one of my saviors. Okay, and she is a well, there's a lot to Rose Faber. Right? She's one of the smartest people I've ever met. Right, a most intelligent persons that's got the biggest heart in the whole wide world. Okay. Well, she has a trailer court over here. Okay, it's called Faber Manor, right? And she wasn't my landlady at first. She was just my neighbor who lived across the field. Okay, she lives in a Quonset hut. And let me run something at you, right? Hey, this gal lived below poverty level until she was 36 with 3 kids. Okay. Then all of a sudden, I don't know, she found a nice cozy corner to curl up into and shit her head out of her ass. I don't know what happened, but you know, she figured some things out. Okay, and from that point on, she blew up into a multi-millionaire. Lives in a rusty old Quonset hut. You know, the old things that they had like back in Vietnam and stuff like that. Okay. Well, that's what she lives in right now. Okay. I hear mice over there, so I'm gonna kill them. Not really. Anyway, Rose Favorite has she's got you know, there's a lot to this gal, right? Very spiritual, right? And her and I have been reading a book called A Course in Miracles. In fact, you can download it for free on your phone, your smartphones and stuff. Well, anyway, you know, there's something odd about this. God, my whole life, the last 6 years have just been incredibly bizarre, okay, especially in this town, because you know, hey, this town back in the early 1900s, this town was, it was founded on mental institutions, okay, mental institutions that I believe back in what was it, back in the 40s, 30s, something, I can't remember. Anyway, back in the Depression, okay, you know, during the Depression, hey, everybody was broke. You know what I'm saying? All these rich investors were jumping off the entire Empire State Building, you know, committing suicide, you know, by the oogles. They were just jumping off all at the same time, like, fuck it. You know, they lost everything they had. Anyway, so imagine how hard it was on these small town folks, right? Especially the people whom people didn't care about, the mental institution. You know what I'm saying? Well, what they do, just let them loose here. They just open the gate and said, "Bert, get your money." They taught them how to what hunt jackrabbits or some shit, right? I don't know, but you know what? Hey, a lot of them stuck around this place because this place is the most bizarre place on earth. Period. And a lot came about this whole thing after say 2-3 generations, right? Which I'll speak more in depth on as I, my fence is down here. Okay, the county lets me they let me have like an 8-foot fence. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want my pit bulls getting out, and they don't want I don't know what they don't want no problems. Like, well, people keep bringing me problems, okay? And like I said, the ambushes, right? Uh, you know, they would hold me at knife point for like half an hour and shit. You know what I'm saying? But give me split second, right? And I don't know if you're watching this, but you remember that? Give me that one split second. How'd you like that? Yeah, bitch slap this dude with my machete right in his mouth. Pow! Oh, hey, not the blade, like this, right? And your fat ass old lady, hey, you know what? Hey, that broad, yeah, hey, you good thing you had a fat ass old lady because she was an anchor. Because if I'd have pulled you back behind that house, I'd have took your head off, dude. Hoorah! Anyway, uh, there's a huge. Okay, let me tell you this before I go. And here's what I'm doing right now. Okay, it's garbage day tomorrow. Okay, now I don't have enough money to pay for my garbage to be picked up, every week or whatever. I don't have enough money or a license to um, haul my stuff uh, to the dump. You know what I'm saying? But here's the deal. I have changed my ways, right? I don't do no bad. I walk around doing community service all day long, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Hey, and so the neighborhood, my whole neighborhood, they see me every day. Okay, you want to have any sort of longevity, right? Hey, then you need to be persistent about something. Okay, and my persistence is aimed at not being felonious. I don't wake up having to do a felony today, and that's how I used to be. Okay, if I'm waking up, bam, I'm doing a felony. Fuck yeah. But no, I don't do it anymore. I can't afford to go back to prison. Okay, I can't afford that. Man, I got a broken back. Okay. Um, Let me tell you this though. Hey, when you quit doing felonies, when you stop being a bad guy, right? I was never a bad guy. I was a bad guy, right? I was a felon, and I didn't care if I went back to prison. That's part of the gig, you know. If you're gonna play, you're gonna have to pay. Clearly, yeah. Well, if I can't pay, then I'm not gonna play. Okay, and um, just the fact that I I I've been blessed with meeting, I got a couple saviors, and one of them, like I said, is Rose Favor, first and foremost, for sure. That brought could tell me this. Hey, Scotty, yeah, these 10 people right here, they need to die. I'd be like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, do whatever. I had to kill them all, everyone, just on call. Okay, so that's some power in her court for sure. Okay. Um. Anyway, apparently, uh, bad guys don't like it when you quit being a bad guy. Okay. In this county, anyway. In this town, especially. And it's so bizarre, so bizarre. And hey, look, okay. So I told you about Precious, right? And I kind of told you about the pot grow and the strain pot that I'm growing and stuff like that. Okay, now listen to this. There's some other folks, whom are growing the same strain on the other side of the next town over. Okay, in between here, the gorge, right? And it's so weird. Their mother died in an automobile accident. Okay, okay. Well, they went to go visit their mom at the gravesite. Okay, when they got there, there's a rabbit that won't leave their gravesite, their mom's gravesite. They won't leave alone, won't leave alone, won't leave alone. They moved the rabbit over here. We'll come right back. Oh, jeez. Okay. Well, clearly after a few weeks, right? This rabbit's bugging on something, you know, and it's tripped and it's hurt. Yeah, clearly it's injured. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what are we gonna do about this rabbit? This driver's crazy. So they take this rabbit to the vet. Okay, just to get rid of it, right? And you know, to do the humane thing. You know, I mean, it's a hurt animal. You know, so they take it to the vet, and this rabbit had the same injuries that the mother had sustained from the car wreck that killed her. Okay. Whoa. Okay, that's just trippy. It's just trippy. Okay. Now here's what I have planned for when I die. Okay. When I die, I'm gonna have a hawk eat some of my meat, whatever, you know, and ship me out, you know, over the land or whatever, right? Okay. And because and the rest of me is gonna be incinerated. I'm gonna be cremated, and then I'm gonna get thrown into my pot grow as fertilizer. Okay. Now, if there is a spirit world, right? I can't think of a better way to get any closer to it than that right there. Okay. Now, there's also um, the fact that right that God spelled backwards is dog. Okay. I mean, there's just a whole bunch of things that are just kind of interconnecting with my life as I go through it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, and it's like I'm getting served up power in good ways, right? I don't tell on anybody. You know what I'm saying? I don't. You know, it's still if somebody messes with me, I'm still gonna go about it. Hey, I have a bylaw that I have to stay in order with. You know what I'm saying? And I don't break my bylaw, right? The Aryan family changed their bylaws. Okay, they've changed it, right? It's an Asatru group, right? And Asatru is you know, yes, that's getting right back to the earth. And here's the deal. Here's what all religions have in common. Okay, they all say that we come from the earth and we go back to the earth, right? I don't care what it is. Hey, that's about the only thing really that everybody concurs with is that right there. Okay. So with that, I need to go load up my wheelbarrow and with trash, right, garbage and whatnot, and load up all the other neighbors' trash cans that are out on the road right now, right, for pickup tomorrow, right. And so maybe I'll take you with me a little bit, or whatever. Now here's the deal. Don't be alarmed. Don't be scared. Don't be frightened. Don't be whatever. But you know, uh, I don't go unarmed. Right? I can't have a gun for about another 7 years. No, about another year. It'll be 7 years. Anyway, I take at least one pit bull, and I can't have a gun, so I take a chopper. Okay. Yes, I take a chopper, and I don't offend anybody, and I don't try to scare or intimidate anybody, unless they need intimidated or scared or cut, right? And it's so bizarre because see, my old lady's from here.